Hello, welcome to my kitchen. I apologise for the mess and I apologise for everything, and I'm going to remind everyone this is not, I repeat, not a traditional Bolognese recipe. This is a rendition of my mother's recipe that she created for some very picky children eaters. Alright, so you'll have to forgive that this is only just a rendition of it. So what I'm going to do is start off with heating up a pot. Right, while that's warming up, pot of water. Now, just remember the fact that my family, we can't have much salt. So trying to add salt to the water is going to actually hurt our family. Since my father's only got one kidney, we've learned to cook without salt. Right, so I'm going to put in a little bit of canola oil, just a little bit. Right, I've got here one small to medium diced onion, some diced capsicum. Right. Right. Now this is a semi sofrito, not a proper sofrito, just a semi. Right, here I have some grated carrot. Right, traditionally it's meant to be done diced, but like I said, my family were there, picky eaters. We weren't going to eat, as children we weren't going to eat that kind of stuff, the diced stuff. So you have to forgive me, I like to clean while I cook. Right, so here we are, just cooking this off, sweating them all off. Right, now the tradition is that if you use fresh herbs, you add them at the end, because that's where all the most flavour comes from. Cooking them at the start with dry herbs helps the oils and the moisture bring out all the flavours of the dry herbs. This is just oregano and basil. Alright, so I'm going to sweat this off. Right, while that's happening, I can keep my water aside, because the longer you cook the meat, the better it tastes. Well, in my opinion anyway. Right, now I don't add garlic at the start, only because you get the most flavour from the garlic when you add it just before the meat. So I like to get the garlic ready. Right, so there it's ready to be crushed. Now it's sweating off nicely. Right, I'm using a higher heat than I usually do, only because I like the flavour that comes from the aromatics that come out from this higher heat. In goes the crushed garlic. Like I said, I don't want to cook it long. I only want to cook it for a little bit. Like I said, my family were there, picky eaters, so we, more times than none, wouldn't eat stuff that was too much vegetables. So my mother learned to cook using grated or crushed vegetables. So that way it was more tastier. That's good. Right. You have to excuse the throwing. Don't worry, I clean the pot and the stove occasionally. Normally I'll use a little bit more meat, but it's only just for the two of us, so this is plenty. Now you see how the meat and the veggies are starting to stick to the bottom of the pan? What I want to do is bring up all the flavours of the garlic, onion and carrot, a bit of red wine. Occasionally my mum didn't have red wine, so she'd use a little bit of beer. Just any sort of alcohol, just to help get that flavour off the bottom of the pan and into the meat. Right. Like I said, normally speaking I would have cooked this for about 3 or 4 hours. But for a retired chef now, sweet paprika, a nice generous amount of that, and my family's little secret ingredient, a little tiniest pinch of cayenne pepper. We don't want it hot, just enough just to give that tiny little bit of pep. Right, that's all we add for the seasonings. Right, like I said, I've learned how to cook without salt. So when I'm working in the kitchen, professional kitchen, I would make it with seasoning, but my father's only got one kidney, so I've had to learn how to cook without it. Right. Normally I would use a passata, but in this case, like I said, it's my mum's recipe. So a little bit of diced tomatoes is sufficient. Like I said, it's my mum's recipe, and it's one us kids enjoyed growing up. Right about now, I'll turn on the lower temperature one, slide it across, and this is where I'm going to leave you for the moment because I'm going to do some cleaning and I'll come back again to finish it off. Welcome back. Okay, this has been about half an hour to an hour cooking. Now I have to formally apologise about previously. I've spent over 20 years in the hospitality industry and I've suffered really bad arthritis in doing so. So you have to forgive me if I do drop something, and I try and clean up the best I can and try and do the best I can. Right? But it's affected me to the point where now my hands are generally like this, pretty much 99% of the time. Right? Now what I've added is Legos tomato paste. Normally speaking, I would go for the regular type. In this case, my local shops did not have the regular type. I've had to go for the organic. But it does similar to the same job, but it's brought out this beautiful luscious red colour, right, which really is tantalising to the nose and the smell. And right now, for the next hour, hour and a half, all I do is add water, right, and reduce it down to a beautiful and gorgeous flavour. Normally speaking, when I'm working in hospitality, in a professional kitchen, I would add cream or milk, but at home we've strayed away from more of the dairy because of certain contributing factors in our family. Some of us did actually have a lactose intolerance level, so we tried to keep it basic and simple. Right, but this has been cooking now for about an hour, hour and a half, and like I said, off camera, I put about 2, maybe 3 tablespoons of the tomato paste in, just to help thicken it up a little bit and give it a nice flavour. Right. There's a little much more I'm going to do to this, except for adding more water as cooking time progresses. Other than that, all I'll be doing is just making up the pasta, which, unfortunate to say, is going to be the store-bought Romano spaghetti pasta. When you're cooking on a budget, you just deal with what you can get. Unfortunate to say, I am cooking on a budget because we're trying to save money to go back to Europe and other things too. Right, so it's really important to try and save money where I can possibly do so. But I'll let this stew now and leave it cooking for another hour, hour and a half. Then I'll make up the pasta and make it ready to eat. Now please keep in mind that how I'm doing this is by my mother's recipe. It's not how I do things professionally. If I would do things professionally, I would have cooked the Bolognese overnight for in between 8 to 12 hours, right? And it'll be done with a proper sofrito. It'll be done with the traditional methods, right? And the pasta, alright, I admit, is not traditional. Right, in this case, I'm just using spaghetti that I bought from a shop. Normally speaking, I would rather make a farfalle or some other freshly made pasta that would really go nice with it. In this case, I'm just using a store-bought spaghetti, right, as per my mum's recipe, and I'm going to cook it for just a few seconds al dente. Right, not al dente, but with a few seconds more than al dente. So it still absorbs the sauce, right, and it's still beautiful. Right, but the pasta sauce is ready, so I've turned off the heat. As you can see, it's a beautiful and luscious meat sauce. It's very delicious. And I haven't added any dairy to it, only because of certain family members are lactose intolerant. I've had to keep it simple and easy. Right, I haven't added any salt whatsoever, not even to the pasta. Right, I haven't added any salt to this, only because I've had to learn to cook without the salt. Right, it's just a family trait. We've had to do it without salt. No salt. There's salt on the table, there's pepper on the table, there's chili on the table, and normally I would serve it with a Parmigiano Reggiano or a Pecorino Romano, but I don't have those. But it's still delicious nonetheless. And this is how my mother used to make it. Just pure, simple, easy. Right, cooked for a couple of hours. Delicious. And as for picky kids, this is what we enjoyed. Thank you very much.